Hello, I'm very proud to represent here Montreal, Quebec, Canada, to speak on the behalf of the Transdisciplinarity anniversary of the TD Charte, the Transdisciplinary Charte, wrote in 1994 in Arabida, Portugal, and that advises from all research fields to go hand in hand and to work together for the sake of the humanity, for the sake of the human being. We are not only studying, researching, but we are here to help to carry on in the best manner as possible in such a difficult world. So today I will talk about the very complex and difficult, but also sometimes dazzling, astonishing, interesting, and dialogue between men and machines. I'm going to share the screen, and I have a text. I have 30 minutes for my presentation. I will try to do it on time. So just sharing my screen. Here we are. I would like to start with a poetic paper of René Barbier, Professor René Barbier, who was emeritus professor at Paris 8, and he speaks about the hope principle of Ernst Bloch. And he says, when I speak to you of freedom, you answer me with economy, with brothels, with armored doors, with great walls, with sentinels on their watchovers, with books to reassure me, with music in a refrain in dancing to turn around oneself, with death locked in each face. When I talk to you about freedom, I'm also talking to you about brothels, but also about the little half-open door in the basement, the window with the unsoldered bars, the air vent in the cellar that a kick can enlarge, the attic that's opened onto the sky, the walls too old to scratch with your nails, the cats that always find their way out, the poetry that cracks the wood rocks, the red balloons that rise from the soul of childhood, towers the great outdoors. When I talk to you about freedom, I also talk about equality, about all those who can no longer stand fences surrounded by police dogs, about friends who are ready to wear out their hands on the rigid walls, about prison guards who would like to be somewhere else and who sometimes close their eyes to dream, about the prestigious politician surprised to find himself there without knowing, about the woman who refuses to no longer believe in birth. When I speak to you of liberty and equality, I speak to you also of fraternity, of hands extended to give the last crumb of bread, of smiles when the night is too dark, of the kiss to the one who is going to die, of the song that no longer has any borders, of the imperceptible gestures that carries the earth to the wave, of the needle's eye in all finitude. When I talk to you about being human, I'm talking to you about all of this. I open hope like a pearl oyster. I understand us in the radical impulse that leaps from the grip. I kiss you. René Barbier. And that was a message I had on my Facebook account. So I'm just asking you 2 minutes. I'm going to take a sip of water, because that's to be human, is to need to, when we speak, to sometimes improvise. And I need a little bit of water. Water is so important for the planet, no? Human relations in contemporary organizations, company, training institute, commercials, agencies, factories, seems to rely more and more on mediation of intelligence, artificial intelligence, which in principle constitutes a good contribution, both scientifically and technology. However, also the means of communications are multiplying: telephone, fax, internet, chat, email, video conferencing, audio conferencing. Understanding, as Edgar Morin pointed out, remains quite difficult and complex within contemporary organizations, to the extent that the gap between general management and the operational team that performs the essential tasks is also widening every day. So many accidents could be avoided through good maintenance of the equipment, or simply correct its use, and as well from paying attention to the human factor, because if we are each time more with subtle protocols and everything, we look human as a good, as an object, as I would say a watch and a clock. And human being is not limited as an object. He is illimited. He has an infinite value, as said Kant. He is beyond his own understanding. So we should say that we should pay attention not to be too rigid in our protocols, and have space to improvise, to listen to one another, to dialogue, to understand each other in between different countries, when the manager is in one country and the factory is in another country, for instance, because we are not dealing with objects that are working there. We are dealing with human beings that can fail, and that can have accidents, and that can have problems that machines are unable to solve. So I would like to go straight to unintentional accidents due to human energy problems. Recently, we witnessed in 2024 a giant outrage at Microsoft, apparently due to an update failure that affected airports around the world. In the past, a plane crash in São Paulo caused the death of 199 people, partly due to the poor maintenance of the airport as infrastructure, particularly in runways already reported by numerous strikers, by the airport worker, by the politicians. And however, the weight of the economic issues prevented the airport from being closed, despite the explicit request of the local politicians. Similarly, the collapse of a bridge in Mississippi, in Minneapolis, also seems to be due to maintenance problems, as well as the dramatic accident at the mine in Siberia in 2021. Likewise, the tragedy of Sayan-Shushensk in an accident in 2009, and the electric power station caused 75 deaths and mobilized 2,000 rescuers. It also notes maintenance problems with turbine 2, which have been reported on many occasions. So people report, people tell that things are going wrong, that we're going straight to the accident, but what happens that people don't listen and that the accident has to take place to things to improve and to change? So, well, at the heart of the problems of accidents, due to unintentional attitudes, poor maintenance, communication, difficulty of communications, there is the problem of the imbalance of human emotions, largely influenced by energy crisis, energy deficit, or energy excess, human energy, that I described in the little energy modulation table, which was thinked with my colleague, State Doctor Frédéric Andrés at the National Institute of Tokyo. Informatics, National Institute of Informatics of Tokyo. So we noticed that at the ground zero of the human energy, you are apathetic, so feeling drained, exhausted, tired, heavy, without the strength to continue, paralyzed or partially paralyzed, for some on coma, some paralyzed by pain, and can be psychological pain or can be physical pain. In any case, they are absent. The second energical state we observe, it's autopilot that enables us to function but without drive, as if drawing on the last reserves of energy in an automaton behavior, like reflex actions. And you know, when you forget your keys, you forget your keys, you don't know where your gloves is. That's very common. But think about someone who is distracted in airport tower, and that one plane is ready to go and the other is ready to land. And the person that has to inform them that there is a plane going and they're leaving and there is a plane arriving is doing something else, and then there is a horrible crash. So yes, we can be distracted, but it depends on when and how. And in some professions, the fact of being distracted, of being without discipline, without concentration at the precise moment, can be dramatic. So the autopilot is a situation where you do, but you're tired and your attention is not 100% there. And there is accidents, but as I work with William de Bono, sometimes when the spirit is floating, that you're at home and that you're distracted and you're not thinking about anything, then you can have the aha moments, the discovery moments. That's also unintentional. So it's very interesting to study the unintentional category of the spirit, because they're conscious, but they're not voluntary, as the mistakes and as the accidents, but as also as the discoveries. So to withdraw ourselves from an autopilot behavior, we can go to night light. So we can just slow down, diminish the light, stay conscious, but at rest, calm, in an energy-saving mode. You delay action, you review, you carry, welcome people, and you have this specific mood, the courage to say, can you help me? I'm feeling quite tired. I wouldn't like to go in an autopilot mood. I wouldn't like to have to act as a machine because I can make several mistakes. Can you help me? Can you take my place in here? Can you relay with me? Can we delay this action? Instead of being as you thought it would be on Monday, can we record your conference, please, on Tuesday? I will be more efficient. So the humility to not be so remarkable, so important, but to ask for help and sometimes to ask for someone to take your place. There is the awake state. The awake state is a very beautiful state that was described from the Buddhist monks, from the Christian monks, from the spiritual religions, from the Amerindians, the First Nations. The awake presence, the full presence, the shamans, is when your body and soul are kind of connected together, but not to speak to of the soul to engineers, managers, and etc. We will say body and mind. Our body and mind are quite balanced, and we had a good night's sleep. We eat well. Our mood is happy. We're doing some sports. We're having some fun in life, and then we are in a awake, full present state. The mind is sharp, lucid. We have quick reactions. We take charge of the situation. We feel balance, agility, know-how. And that's a special moment for human mediation. And I think when we are in the conflict, if you are exhausted in an autopilot mood or totally drained, totally worn out, it's not a good time to mediate anything. There is another state that is kind of an excess of energy, that you are overexcited, enthusiastic, accelerated, and you rush into action, and several actions at the same time sometimes, and you does not perceive fatigue, and you have a feeling of lightness, of inspiration. You know, there are some people that can operate, a surgeon, for instance, can spend the night operating 12 hours, and then the morning he look for his patients, and this is incredible. They have a resistance, but if they don't rest after that, they go to burnout. So this mood that we can transcend our fatigue is possible, and have saved many lives in many drastic and complicated situations. But after that pushing, we need to slow down and rest. So this energy deficit or surplus will influence our emotions. I take another sip of water. I am sorry, but as a colleague of mine said, we have to wet our words. Our energy portrait will have a decisive influence on the way we will carry out our activities, and have a direct influence on our emotions and the meaning of our lives. In fact, allowing us to care out of a body examination, it will inform us about our capacity or our inability to carry out our daily activities, our need to take breaks, restore ourselves, to balance our energy potential with future wisdom. It draws up a description of our energy script of capacity or incapacity. Its impact on emotions and the mind seems an intention, but immediate. Of course, energy and emotions are connected. For instance, when you are apathetic, you are mostly in a depressive state, or when you are in a depressive state, you're mostly apathetic. I mean, what comes first, the egg or the The chicken, we don't know, but for sure there is a devaluation of desire, a denigration, an absence of desire, fear, shame, sadness, leak, abandon. When we are in autopilot, we are demotivated, stressed, we have even strain, we are self-constrained, forced. We force our desire to be there. So we're angry, we're in an attack moods many times. So we have to withdraw from the autopilot and go to a nightlight, calm, neutrality, listening, a kind of passivity, make room for the other, for the desire of the other, take a distance, have an empathy for yourself, for the others, ask for help, the need of relays, and usually we are in a passive mood and a neutrality mood. That is very different to be passive aggressive. I mean, I can tell you, it's the neutral position is not a position that you wait to attack. It's a position that you really are resting on yourself and trusting the others that they can do better than you at that precise moment. And you're not afraid to ask for help and to apologize and say, I'm sorry, I'm not able to do what you want for me now, but someone else maybe can do it. And take the necessary rest. Then we have the full presence. That is, what is the emotion of full presence? It's curiosity, interest. We are resilient, anti-fragile, as a material that never breaks, resistant. Our desire is present. We are motivated, involved, implicated. We have inspiration, involvement, and we can speak hours and hours about full presence, because the researchers of mindfulness, they understand very well this concept of full presence. The yoginis, they understand very well this full presence moment, and they can help people in industry, people in engineering, in people in management, because they understand how to deal with the different states of energy. So it's interesting to cross knowledge in a transdisciplinary way and to ask the traditions that hold so much about what is to be fully present in a moment, how this can help us to avoid accidents and catastrophes. So we have also the overexcited, enthusiastic, increased desire, risk-taking. Sometimes we overestimate our capacities there. We can have accident as well, but we have a feeling of joy, of pride, of going beyond our nature, and sometimes we see wonderful surpassing achievements. I mean, I think in the Olympics, in the achievements of the volunteers at the Olympic Games in France that really surpassed themselves, as said the General Éric Carré in his conference, very interesting conference, that you can watch at my Vimeo, Mariana Thieriot, Loisel Vimeo. It is online, the conference of Éric Carré about the golden medal for the Olympic volunteers that helped the Olympic Games to take place. Transcendence is very important, but we need to rest after transcendence. We need the humility to rest. So having quickly made the connection between our energy portrait and our emotional states, I note the influence of these unintentional attitudes on our behaviors of escape, flight, or abandon, attack, neutrality, involvement, and finally inspiration and surpassing. And first, the need to prevent accidents related to our unintentional attitudes was established then in my mind, attitudes that will carry both our worst failures and our most beautiful surpassing, our moving wisdom. Indeed, in a state of apathy or autopilot, it is better to put oneself in standby, and after a state of excitement, which allows us surpassing, we need to recover. So some questions I would like to raise rapid in. So really, does the communication transmitted by machines in the background facilitate us or hinder us? Relationships with machines, especially robots, are really better, more reliable than relationships with humans. And how can we avoid an automated management of people and resources and processes to be implemented that is, so to say, as means and as not to ends? In these extreme codifications of relationship, binary logic, or at best feedback logic, to quote the engineer Costa, this is dangerous in the long term because it prevents personal initiative on the ground to think, to observe the unintentional attitudes, to be conscious of it, to dialogue with what is happening unintentionally. That will make it possible to avoid a crisis by anticipating you through frankness of dialogue and anticipate wars, anticipate catastrophes. So we need the setup of dialogue, of mediation. And then I follow the works of Hubert Landier, the one and the other in L'Harmattan, that will soon be published in English by a jurist. And also all the works of Engineer Cost about mediation and solving problems in a transdisciplinary manner. So how can we set up training for engineers, but not only engineers, economists, administrative people, management, that allows them to think and make decisions in a crisis context in order to avoid unintentional accidents due to the human factor. Stress, burnout, suicide, for example, in the middle of the flight. For suicide in mid-flight, it is the crash of German's air wings. The pilot crashed in the Alps with more than 100 people on board, and he was not allowed to fly this day because he was depressed, and he flight and kill himself and everybody. So indeed, unlike machines, humans are aware of being aware, which allows them to distance themselves and anticipate. We can take a distance. We can breathe, think, and see what we can do together. And withdraw from war positions that, in fact, are due to energy problems of either excess of energy, enthusiasm, etc., or lack of energy, that we are exhausted and that we are no longer able to discuss. So what future do we want for our contemporary organizations? The protocol, the monologue with robots and machines, the reduction of relationships between people to vertical and arbitrary power, relations having received in advance an automation process by binary logic, and whose only objective is the short-term profit or most medium-term profit, where any complex, difficult, and arduous human dialogue, certainly, but also democratic, which will imply the training of people in the exercise of dialogue and and the responsibility of choosing the meaning and the value of the actions is instead dispose the problem of the evacuation of the demand of the subject of training in hard science, engineering, cutting-edge technology, high management. To what extent do many engineers in the industries ask themselves the question, will 100% automated company which operates autonomously be an improved and add value for society, and ultimately will it benefit from this type of evolution? So I would like to advise us of the potential dangers and abuses of the human artificial intelligence relationship in science and technology if this science and technology replace man and that thinks supposedly better than man. Because there is a big difference in the enslavement by machines and I would say the victim and the executioner brought to light by psychoanalysis during an intentional process of the autopilot type. So how can we escape from the machine people to operate in a binary good and bad logic or retroactive programmed evaluation, a feedback logic, but that is not open to a true dialogue that is preconceived by a machine? Well, we have to pay attention to the significance, use, and sustainability of scientific and technological discoveries. We really need to go through the awareness of our unintentional attitudes, which allows us, thanks to a process of working through, to thwart the machinic arrangement of man and its creations by extricating himself from his machinic arrangements. Through progressive awareness, the human can identify his different energetic states and reestablish his emotional balance. That was really what I need to say today. I mean, a demand for an in-depth human training for researchers and users of scientific and technology nowadays in the management field as well. And we have to go towards learning companies. I mean, companies that can, of course, think as machines, binary in a way, good and bad, yes or no, etc., to questions that are very pragmatic, but who are able as well to withdraw from the autopilot process when things are going wrong, and to think together in situation how to solve the crisis or how to anticipate the crisis and how to mediate conflicts in a transdisciplinary manner. What is to mediate a conflict in a transdisciplinary manner is entering a gray zone. This gray zone is there we are aware of being unintentionally driven by our energy and our emotions, and to work with this and say, stop, now I'm too tired, now I need to rest, now I need to ask for help, now I need to go hand in hand, now I need to be supported by my team. I cannot carry on all this alone, and we have to go together. So this humility of cooperation in a long-term process nowadays is proven to be very good for the companies in a financial way, because there are many hidden costs, as Daniel Bonnet studies, hidden costs due to burnout, to stress, to maintenance problems, and to not paying attention what is happening unintentionally in the company and sometimes under the carpet. So we must cooperate to look at under the carpet together, and we must trust one another to do that. And this would be amazing. A company that dialogues, a company that learns together, that deals with his unintentional attitudes due to unconscious conflicts that demand to be observed and solved. So I would like to conclude with a sentence of Mark Twain. They didn't know it was impossible, so they did it. And I guess those who are listening to me will do it, will be able to dialogue together and to make peace together, to mediate conflicts, to anticipate conflicts, to solve conflicts in situations, not as machines, but as human beings with their legs, their heart, and their mind. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you very soon, hopefully, in a next video. Bye.